Do you believe that in just 40 seconds from now, somewhere in the world, another person will suffer a stroke? And in only 3 minutes, another life will be lost forever to this condition? Those numbers alone make many people shiver. But what is even more frightening is that 1/4 of all strokes happen to people under the age of 65. So what will happen when a stroke strikes right inside your own home to the person you love the most? Imagine this. You are having dinner with your spouse when suddenly they drop the spoon. Half of their face droops and their speech becomes slurred. In that very moment, your heart tightens. What would you do? Would you panic? Or would you already have a golden formula in mind to act instantly? The danger is that with every passing minute during a stroke, millions of brain cells die and will never recover. Do you really want to see your loved one confined to a wheelchair for the rest of their life, all because of just a few minutes of delay? Or worse, do you want to miss the chance to say a final goodbye? That question is not only for someone else, it could be for you right now. That is why today I want to share with you a life-saving secret, one that could preserve a life in an instant. But before we go deeper, let me ask you, do you truly want to join me in protecting your own health and the health of your loved ones? If yes, then click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos on healthy aging, and leave the number 1 in the comments so I know you are walking this journey with me. If you are not yet convinced, just type 0 and I will know that I must work even harder to bring more value to you. And now, let me reveal to you a simple formula that anyone, whether 60 or 80 years old, can easily remember. Just 4 letters and you will know how to recognize a stroke within seconds. But have you ever heard of the FAST method and why it can completely change the fate of a person's life? Fast and a dangerous mistake. Have you ever heard of FAST? This is the golden key that helps you recognize a stroke in just seconds. FAST stands for 4 English words, F-A-S-T. But the most important thing is not just the acronym itself, it is how you apply it the moment your loved one shows unusual signs. Would you like me to explain it in the simplest way so you only need to hear it once and remember it for the rest of your life? The first letter, F, stands for facial drooping. The face suddenly droops or becomes uneven. Imagine Mary, a 67-year-old woman living in Florida. One afternoon, while she was watching TV with her daughter, the daughter suddenly noticed that her mother's face was sagging, the corner of her mouth dropping down. If that scene unfolded right before your eyes, wouldn't it send you into shock? The letter A stands for arm weakness. Weakness or paralysis in the arm. Mary's husband said at that moment, "Mom, try lifting both your arms." But one of her arms would not move at all. Do you see? Even such a simple action already reveals a major danger. If your loved one suddenly cannot lift their arm, would you recognize this as a red alert sign? The letter S stands for speech difficulty, trouble speaking, slurred or unclear words. Mary's daughter panicked when she heard her mother trying to call her granddaughter's name but could only produce garbled sounds. Have you ever thought that a familiar voice suddenly becoming strange might be a silent cry for help? And finally, the letter T, time. Time is truly gold. Do you know that with every passing minute, millions of brain cells die? Remember, the faster you act, the greater the chance of recovery. What would you choose? To act immediately or to gamble your loved one's future because of a few lost minutes? However, I must warn you about something. Many people make deadly mistakes when faced with a stroke. Some, in a panic, drive the patient to the hospital themselves. Others rush to give painkillers or even aspirin, not realizing that this can make the situation far worse. Do you see how dangerous it is that a single wrong decision can turn hope into despair? And there is another secret that few people notice. In some rare cases, a stroke patient may stop breathing and the heart may stop beating. If at that moment you don't know how to perform CPR, can you be sure you won't lose the last chance to save them? At this point, you may be wondering, so what exactly should you do? If you can't drive the patient yourself, can't give medication, and can't just let them lie down and rest, then what is truly the safest step? Stay tuned, because in the very next part, I will show you the most precise way to act. A single decision that can save a life and change the future of your family. Solutions and what to do. So, in the end, when faced with a stroke, what must you do? This may be the biggest question any of us has ever asked ourselves. If one day it happens to your spouse, your partner, or even to yourself, would you be calm enough to act correctly? The first and most important thing, call emergency services immediately. If you are in the US, dial 911. If you are in Vietnam, remember 115. Do not hesitate. Do not wait to see if the symptoms will go away on their own, because with a stroke, every second is worth more than gold. Do you realize that just one phone call can decide a person's entire life? The second thing, absolutely do not give the patient any medication. Many people believe aspirin will thin the blood, but in some types of stroke it can cause severe brain bleeding. Would you risk your loved one's life for one hastily given pill? The third thing, do not let the patient drive themselves, do not let them eat or drink, and certainly do not let them lie down and sleep it off, hoping they will feel better afterward. These seemingly harmless actions can actually push the patient into a far more dangerous situation. Do you see how tragic it would be to lose the golden chance to save a life just because of such carelessness? In some rare situations, the patient may stop breathing, or their heart may stop beating. At that moment, you must perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR. If you are not familiar with it, remember that emergency dispatchers are always ready to guide you step by step over the phone. Are you willing to learn this skill starting today so you will never have to regret being unprepared when that moment arrives? And there is one more crucial detail that many people overlook. Always note the exact time when the symptoms began. This is golden information that doctors need in order to decide the right treatment. Do you realize how such a small detail can completely change the outcome of treatment? As you can see, the true solution is not overly complicated. Call emergency services immediately. Do not give medication on your own. Do not handle the situation incorrectly. Be ready to perform CPR if needed, and remember the onset time of symptoms. But is simply knowing these steps enough to keep you and your family safe? Or do you also need a stronger message to transform fear into hope? Stay with me, because in the final part, I will share with you a priceless lesson, a message that can help you live each day with peace of mind instead of constant worry about a sudden stroke striking without warning. Do you still remember what I said at the beginning of this video, that every 40 seconds someone suffers a stroke? That number sounds terrifying, but what is even more frightening is the helplessness when we do not know what to do. Do you want to live under the shadow of constant fear that one day your loved one may collapse in front of you while you lack the knowledge to save them? The truth is, stroke can happen to anyone, at any age. But remember, the real difference does not lie in whether it happens, but how you respond. Do you believe that just one quick decision, one timely phone call, one sharp eye to recognize fast can transform a tragedy into a story of survival? I want you to picture again the image of Mary, the woman I mentioned earlier. If that day her daughter had not noticed the drooping face, the weak arm, the slurred speech, and had not called emergency services right away, Mary might have been confined to a wheelchair for the rest of her life. But thanks to the right action at the right time, she received timely treatment, and after a few months of rehabilitation, she could once again walk around her garden and hold her granddaughter in her arms. Do you see how from a terrifying fear, hope was rekindled, thanks only to knowledge and timely action? The message I want to leave with you today is very simple. Aging does not mean illness or helplessness. You absolutely can take charge of your own health, protect your family's happiness, and live more fully each day, as long as you know how to act correctly. So, will you choose to live in constant worry, or will you choose to equip yourself with the knowledge to turn fear into strength? If you found this video helpful, please hit like so that more people can also have the chance to be saved. Share it to spread this knowledge to your friends and loved ones, because who knows, tomorrow it might be exactly what they need. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join me on the next health journeys, where I will continue to bring you valuable tips to help older adults live healthy, happy, and long lives surrounded by children and grandchildren. Because remember this, quick action can save a life, and the knowledge you gain today can be the priceless gift for tomorrow. Are you ready to bring that gift home to your own family?